Hi guys. Uh, so this week's topic is about fragrance. In your practice. For me, I have a bit of a I think there's more people that maybe have this experience than maybe people think, which is now I'm going to see if I can pronounce this right. Synesthesia, I think it's called Synesthesia, something like that. I can never remember. I always have to look it up before I pronounce it, but I'm kind of doing this on the hop today, multitasking. My son was up till God knows what time. Didn't settle till early hours of the morning, so I am cooking at the moment. I've had enough sleep to do me, so I'm just catching up on bits and pieces. Anyway, I digress. For me, it's kind of a weird one because obviously the senses generally, for me, are a big thing. With regards to scent, scent is a huge thing in my practice and always has been, even from when I was young, before I knew what witchcraft was or the path was or anything like that. I was always that way inclined when I was young. But I always found, and even up to now, that senses and colours were intertwined with one another in the sense of um like if I'm outside in the forest, I can, this sounds weird, I know, but it's like I can smell colours. Does that make sense? Um, each colour has a scent. I don't know if that's just me. Um, but I do know it's a thing. I didn't know it was a thing till a few years ago, but apparently it is. And that highly influences me in my path. For me, I'm like very visual, very sensory connected in this, in the respect of if I'm doing something at a very particular space I have. I think I've showed it in this channel before, which is like the glass bowl with the tea lights in. Um, that homes in on very much what I see, what I smell, what I feel. Like the colours I choose, very much the scents I choose to do whatever it is I'm doing. So for example, um I was doing some magic pertaining to something to do with the kayak, and I had grey and black and silver and white tea lights, and the scents I chose were very, very outsidey scents, if that makes sense. So like smells of the ocean, smells of um a fireplace, like outside fire, sorry, like if you're burning a fire outside, um the smells of outside smells. So like I've got scents that are like the rain, thunderstorm kind of scents. Even use tobacco in there as well. And for me anyway, there's a range. A few people that I speak to in the community and other communities know this brand. It's called the Library of Fragrance, and they do really unusual scents like freshly cut grass, like dirt, like a thunderstorm, like rain, all those type of more connected with the earth based scents. So I use those a lot on my person, on things. For example, I may spray a tiny little bit of something on a piece of kitchen towel and have it underneath the bowl that I am doing my spell working on. And as the warmth of the candles permeates down, it brings the scent out. And that is something I do a lot of. On my Morrigan main altar, I do similar. Again, I've got a little tiny little bit in front of my altar. I pull the drawers out and I have a little piece of wood and it's covered with a little old cushion cover, and that is directly in front of my Morrigan altar. And I do the same thing there. It's how I bring scent in. The same with wax melts. I'm pretty sure I showed that in a video with I actually use OMs and carve OMs into the wax so that it incorporates scent, but also using the OM for whatever purpose I'm using it for, or bringing in certain things. So that is a very big thing too. Incense as well. Um, yeah, there's loads of things I do. So fragrance is a big part of my practice, definitely 100%. And again, sometimes, like if money's tight, I'll buy just regular tea lights or regular pillars or regular dinner candles and anoint those. But there's times where I will come across like big packs of scented tea lights or big packs of eh, candles where they have the scent already in. But that's not a big problem because I tend to anoint my own anyway, and put my own scent and that into whatever it is I'm doing. But it's sometimes nice just to have your tea lights or your candles or whatever already having the scent in, so you can, if you need to do something in a set time scale, as in like you pick a day and you think, right, today I need to do this, or you have geared up to do something, then it's handy to just be able to pull from that part of your cupboard or whatever, which is always handy, particularly if you're a busy parent. So those are big things. And I also somebody else on the channel mentioned about ancestry. Now for me, ancestry is a huge part of my practice, and it's very much interwoven and interconnected with the kayak in a lot of respects. So I have my Morrigan main altar. I have my Morrigan sacred fireplace, which is mainly for offerings. I have my little astrological lunar solar kind of little bit where I use with my glass bowl, and upstairs I have my ancestor altar, um, and I have another little bit sectioned off which is beside my my ancestor altar for the kayak, and that's changed over the months umpteen times in how I've set it out and how I've incorporated things. Also scent, for example, my gran, who is obviously highly connected with my ancestor altar, she loved carnations, and so carnations are incorporated a lot on my ancestor altar. I will buy or pick carnations, and then once they are done, I will dry them out and I will crush them up, and I will make blends with them, like to anoint candles, to make as offerings, to make as a loose incense to burn. I also have carnation resin, which kind of melts. It's like a resin. So that's used on my ancestor altar too. And I find a lot of scents to do with sunflower scents are very they kind of wallop your head, but not in a good way, if that makes sense. I personally am not into floral scents, but my gran loved carnations, so I honour her with the give back to her with giving her what she liked. And it's one of the things I found in the flower scents and the bud scents and the petal scents and the leaves. They're very, very mild scented, if at all, when it comes to drying things out. So those are perfect. But then I will also use for scent the carnation resin, because I've bought a few carnation things before and lit them if they're incense or if they're or wax melts, whatever, and they have not been. I burn something first to see if the scent is okay, if the smell is okay, and if I don't like it, I get a feeling, whether to use it or not. And 9 times out of 10, it's been no, I'm not going to use it. And I've used them up, like wouldn't waste things, but I've got to the point where I've like, no, I don't think she'd like that. So I have then not used that on on my general ancestor altar. So for me, scent is a big, massive thing, and goes part and parcel with many different things to do with the senses. Yeah, that's pretty much what resonates with me. And like I say, everything goes hand in hand, everything interconnects and interweaves into one another, regards senses, for me anyway. Um, and my personal favourite scents and scents that resonate with me are earthy scents. I find most, for example, um, sprays or incenses or wax melts that are more earthy based are what I prefer. Even things like what I use in the shower, 9 times out of 10 the scents I prefer are in the men's section. Uh because a lot of the scents in the female section, like shower gels, bath stuff, are far too sweet, far too florally, and that's just not my cup of tea at all. I like really earthy, dark scents. Even down to, like, say, wax melts, candles, all that kind of thing. And if I can't find a scent I like, then I make my own and incorporate that into what I'm doing, as opposed to finding what I like in the shops already, like as is. But I have found a few shops that have sold very cheaply, actually, uh tea lights or votives or pillars or whatever that have had a scent. Like, one I had was cedarwood and what was it, cedarwood and sea salt or something, which is totally up my street. Anything like that is totally up my street. I'm not saying all scents like that are lovely, but that was totally up my street. So you get a kind of an idea, but definitely check out the um, Library of Fragrance website, Facebook page, and you'll see what I mean. You get so many weird and wonderful scents, so many off the cuff scents that, like, may be for you if you like slightly more unusual smell.